What's good? It's your boy Fanon. It is just a few days out from one of the beginning of one of the best months of fights in the heavyweight division that's happened in a very, very long time. Half of it's going to be in the UK, half of it's going to be in the United States, and quite honestly, both of them are going to be, I believe, are going to be competitive fights that could go either way. The first one, of course, is the one against Deontay, between Deontay Wilder and Luis Ortiz. So I'm going to cover that one in this video. And the general point of it is that no matter what happens in this, no matter how Deontay Wilder wins this fight, well, first of all, it's not a given that Deontay Wilder is going to win this fight. And secondly, if he does, and therefore, since it's not a given he's going to win this, and this is a very, very dangerous opponent, he's going to deserve full credit for doing what he's done. And at least on this channel, are not going to tolerate any more of this nonsense about whether or not Deontay Wilder has proved himself as a champion or not. And for people who are Anthony Joshua fans, I would think, just logically speaking, that it would be in the interest of Anthony Joshua in his legacy to accept what I'm saying is true. And I'll get into that argument after. That's the point of the video. Now, real quick, if you've not subscribed to the channel, please subscribe to the channel. I want to have live streams that will discuss video, the subjects of the videos that we make. And the best way to know about the live streams and the real-time conversations that we have is if you subscribe and you hit the bell icon, because that way you'll get a notification to let you know. Also, the articles and the different source material that I use on these videos, I put out on my Twitter account. So if you just want the updates on the news and things, or if you want to double check some of the articles that I might mention, I'm going to tweet that out. So if you hit the Twitter feed or follow me on Twitter in the link below in the description box, that would be greatly appreciated. Now, on to this. Steve Farhood came out with an article, was interviewed in an article on BoxingScene.com. The title of the article was "Wilder versus Ortiz is the biggest U.S. heavyweight fight since Louis Klitschko." And what he does is he lays out an argument that it was just a long time ago, basically that this is the biggest fight for heavyweights on the U.S. soil since 2003. Just to give you an idea how long ago 2003 was, this is what the Ring Magazine heavyweight rankings looked like at the time of the fight. Of the last major heavyweight championship fight to take place in the United States. The champion was Lennox Lewis. The number one contender, the top 10 fighters were in the Ring Magazine ratings: Vitaly Klitschko at number 1, Chris Bird at number 2, Corey Sanders at number 3, Roy Jones Jr. at number 4, James Toney at number 5, David Tua at number 6. Number 7 was John Ruiz. Number 8 was Vladimir Klitschko. Number 9, Fresikindo. And 10, Mike Tyson. It's pretty amazing that the Ring Magazine at any point in time would have had James Toney and Chris Bird ranked ahead of Vladimir Klitschko in their ratings. So it tells you something about their ratings as it plays out over time. Now, according to Steve Farhood, what makes this in one sense different from Lennox Lewis, and Vitaly Klitschko is that there's an American involved. It's indicative of where the heavyweight division has gone, and this is the biggest fight on American soil since that time. It was a long time ago, 15 years ago. It's indicative of not only who's been dominant, but where the fights have been. He continues in talking about specifically Deontay Wilder and why this fight is so big and why he puts it up above all the fights that have happened since 2003. For some reason, some of the reason for Wilder's standing amongst fight fans is not Wilder's fault. The guy has been willing to go to Russia to fight Povetkin. The guy deserves a lot of credit for that. Obviously, the fight didn't happen, but that's not his fault. Obviously, the Ortiz fight didn't happen the first time, but that's not his fault. So it's kind of been the other people's fault that he's not been thought of by everyone at the same level as he could be. But the fact of the matter is, given his record, given his knockout record, given Joshua's record, given Joshua's knockout record, and the wins in these two fights, they're going to be thought of the way they are. The popularity isn't going to matter because they're going to have to fight one another, period. All of that is going to be secondary with time. They're proving to be much better and that much more attractive as fighters than the rest of the division. Beating Ortiz is by no means a guarantee, and indeed, you'll find no shortage of people picking the dangerous Cuban to spoil the party on Saturday night. Hence the magnitude of this fight. But even those picking Ortiz or even cheering for him can admit that the biggest event to materialize from the Final Four created along with Joshua and Joseph Parker would be for Wilder and Joshua to face off. As significant as Wilder-Ortiz is for the American landscape, a matchup between Wilder and Joshua would be historically large on more than just a national level. This is Farhood. I think that it would probably be the biggest heavyweight fight since Bo Holyfield-Lewis era. If those knockout ratios hold up, it would be the heavyweight title fight. It would be the heavyweight title unification fight with the highest combined knockout ratio in history. And no one's comparing this to Ali Frazier. It's a long way from that, obviously. But just having two punchers of that ability in the ring with one another makes it exciting all on its own. Now, what Steve Farhood is saying here, I completely agree with. That, number one, for Americans and a fan of American boxing, Deontay Wilder is the most exciting heavyweight that has been around easily since Evander Holyfield, Riddick Bowe, and Mike Tyson. There's been a lot of questions about whether or not, he's fought top-notch opposition, and, whether or not he looked, suspect in one fight or suspect on another fight. But at the end of the day, he won and he's knocked out every person he's ever been in the ring with. And one of the things that I like most about Deontay Wilder is that Deontay Wilder has a willingness to go out and try to seek out the fights that are the most dangerous. He did not have to fight Luis Ortiz in this fight because Luis Ortiz had just got popped for something leading up to the fight before this. So that shows you, along with him after a purse bid, having been willing to go over to Russia to fight Alexander Povetkin, that this guy is willing to travel and he's willing to take big risks in order to make fights and get himself to the top level that he thinks he believes in, that he believes he belongs in. Now, as a supporter of Anthony Joshua, and I just got to say that I like pretty much everybody in that top four heavyweights. But with one exception from what Steve Farhood said, I would take Joseph Parker out of the top four, and I might put him at number 5, and I would replace that with Tyson Fury. Because if Tyson Fury is able to get himself together and get back to the form that he was in 2015, then in my opinion, the top heavyweight in the world is Tyson Fury. Tyson Fury was the guy that took all the belts from Vladimir Klitschko, and I understand that there was things that went wrong with the rematch with Vladimir Klitschko and the things with the anti-doping agency in the UK and the British Boxing Board of Control and all the type of, the mental health issues or whatever else Tyson Fury was going through that happened since that time. But the fact remains that he's the guy that held all those belts. And all of the belts that are held by Anthony Joshua and held by Tyson Fury, and held by Anthony Joshua, in my opinion, they belong to Tyson Fury until somebody beats him. So I replace Joseph Parker in the top 4 heavyweights with that. And honestly, as far as the magnitude of a fight, I would put Anthony Joshua versus Tyson Fury right there with Anthony Joshua's worth Deontay Wilder. And I don't think that it would be fair to do a video about the heavyweight division and not point out the existence and the significance of Tyson Fury as the guy that held the IBF, WBO, and WBA super heavyweight title. Now, while I'm crediting Anthony Joshua and Tyson Fury, and from the perspective of a fan of Deontay Wilder, I'm doing Deontay Wilder a favor. And that's one thing that I would wish that people that criticize Deontay Wilder, and go out of their way to make videos about Deontay Wilder, right? And talk about popularity and ticket sales and things like that. Or, whether or not he's proven, whether or not he looks like he can fight or not, and whether or not he fought 39 bums and you want to, call him, bum squad and all that. If he's everything that you're saying that he is, and everything you say that is true about him, then if Anthony Joshua gets in the ring with him and wins, then you steal all of the credit that Anthony Joshua would get by beating him. Boxing matches have 2 people that compete with one another, and if nobody gets credit in a mismatch, nobody gets credit in a mismatch. So if you're a fan of Anthony Joshua, you're doing Anthony Joshua a disservice when you tear his competition down. Because if Deontay Wilder's a bum, if you look at Deontay Wilder's record, then everybody else in the heavyweight division's a bum as well. Because you can't find anybody other than Tyson Fury that has a record that holds up to what Deontay Wilder has done. So you're putting your own, by being spiteful pretty much. And I suggest nervous, right? Nervous. You are discrediting your fighter's competition, and at the end of the day, it doesn't help anybody. But I think we all know that Deontay Wilder really is a serious fighter, and that he's a serious danger to that he's a danger to Anthony Joshua. He's a danger to Tyson Fury. He's a danger to Luis Ortiz. He's a danger to Joseph Parker. He's a big danger to anybody in the world that gets in a boxing ring, period. Same thing can be true. I would say the same thing is true about Anthony Joshua. So when I see in an article that also came out today where Eddie Hearn says that he predicts a 4th or 5th round knockout for Deontay Wilder, that sounds to me as if he's setting the stage where if Deontay Wilder does not knock Luis Ortiz out in 4 rounds, then Deontay Wilder's underperformed. Because, we know, it's like he was talking out of both sides of his neck. Saying, well, yeah, I expected Deontay Wilder should knock out Luis Ortiz 4 or 5 rounds tops. But, Luis Ortiz is dangerous. And if Deontay Wilder gets in there all wild and sloppy, then Deontay Wilder can get knocked out by Luis Ortiz if he's sloppy. But if he's not being sloppy, then Deontay Wilder should knock Luis Ortiz out in 4 or 5 rounds. That is garbage. While Deontay Wilder, I have no doubt, has the ability to knock out anybody that he lays flush punches on, Luis Ortiz is not some walk in the park. Luis Ortiz has the ability to beat anybody in the heavyweight division. He's not an also-ran. That is not Deontay Wilder's not fighting Dillian White. He's not fighting Carlos Takam. If Carlos Takam went 4 rounds went 6 rounds with Deontay Wilder, then I would say, yeah, something's wrong. Because Carlos Takam shouldn't go 5-6 rounds with Deontay Wilder. Not from what I can see. That's why I said that Anthony Joshua in his last fight, they didn't really look all that good. But I'm not going to go and use the fact that Anthony Joshua really didn't deserve a knockout against Carlos Takam, because basically that was a bailout knockout from what I can see. And I can only imagine that, well, I won't say what the reason for it was. You know, I used to think that it was because, you know, UK judges pull a card, you know, pull a plug on the fight quicker than they usually do, right? Like they do in the UK. I mean, than they do in the United States. Like, you know, if you land a couple flush punches on a fighter in the UK, that the judges are more prone to stop the fight. But then I watched Anthony Yarde fight this weekend, and I saw Anthony Yarde spent 2 straight rounds fighting a guy that couldn't defend himself. And if that judge, and I know they're different referees rather, that if the Anthony Yarde fight wasn't stopped at least a round before it was actually stopped, after 2 knockdowns, Anthony Yarde knocked a guy down 2 times in the same round with body shots in the UK, and the fight didn't get stopped. But Anthony Joshua landed 2 solid punches or 3 solid punches on Carlos Takam. Carlos Takam took 1 half step back and they stopped the fight. So it didn't look very good. But I'm not going to do what people would do to Anthony Joshua, Deontay Wilder, and what I suspect they're going to try to do after this fight ends, regardless. If Luis Ortiz beats Deontay Wilder, it's not going to be, oh, Luis Ortiz is this really great fighter and Deontay Wilder lost to one of the best heavyweights in the world. It's going to be that Deontay Wilder lost to some old man and, you know, he's garbage, and now we don't have to see him fight Anthony Joshua. We don't have to worry about that. He doesn't deserve the fight. If he knocks him out in 4 to 5 rounds, then the excuse is going to be, well, you know, you see he knocked him out in 5 rounds. I mean, how good can he be? Deontay Wilder's never beat anybody else, and then he's never beat anybody else that was any good. So he knocked out Luis Ortiz. So therefore, Luis Ortiz must not be any good. And since Deontay Wilder knocked out somebody that wasn't very good, you know, he doesn't deserve a shot since Deontay Wilder didn't knock out anybody good, then Deontay Wilder doesn't deserve a shot against Anthony Joshua. And the dance goes on. That's the logic that Eddie Hearn was setting up in that interview he did with Boxing Scene. And I'm not going to read it or go through it or whatever. But, you know, in the lead up to this fight, I'm not going to predict any type of knockout for Deontay Wilder, because I think better of Luis Ortiz. I don't think Luis Ortiz is going to go in 3 or 4 rounds. I think Luis Ortiz is too good a boxer. And on top of that, I don't think that Deontay Wilder is stupid. Deontay Wilder always talks up his game. That's his personality. And honestly, it's one of the things that would make a fight between the winner of Tyson Fury or of Anthony Joshua, right? Or Deontay Wilder versus Tyson Fury, or Deontay Wilder versus Anthony Joshua, which would make the fight so exciting, because Deontay Wilder brings so much personality to the table, just like Tyson Fury brings so much personality to the table. But at the end of it, I just hope, in these 2 fights that happen, and Anthony Joshua versus Joseph Parker too. Joseph Parker, I don't think is a top 5 heavyweight because I put Tyson Fury in there. But, you know, he's a live dog. He's a live dog, and he's got a belt, and he's coming to win. Now, my advice to Joseph Parker is don't get hit with 3 straight punches. They might pull a plug. You know what I'm saying? Don't get hit with 3 straight punches, because if you wobble, they're going to stop the fight, because they did it to Carlos Takam. But, no, it is what it is, man. It's going to be a good fight. And if Anthony Joshua, if it's in my interest to support Deontay Wilder, I'm going to say I'm not going to discredit. As a fan of Deontay Wilder, and like I said, I'm a fan of Anthony Joshua's too. I'm a fan of Tyson Fury's. I'm a fan of Luis Ortiz. I'm not big on Joseph Parker just because I don't think he's all that. I'm not going to tear down the opponent, the reputation of any of their opponents. Because when my fighter fights him and wins, then they're not going to be, then I can't all of a sudden change my tune and say that, okay, yeah, Anthony Joshua's a bum. Deontay Wilder beats Anthony Joshua, who's a bum. And now Deontay Wilder is one of the greatest heavyweights ever because he beat a guy that I called a bum. That logic doesn't work like that if you want to be consistent with it. If you don't want to be consistent with it, then, have at it, man. But I'm not buying Eddie Hearn's line that this is going to be a 3 to 4 round bout. And I definitely agree with Steve Farhood that this is the biggest heavyweight fight on U.S. soil in about 15 years. So, it is what it is. I'm looking forward to it. This is the week of heavyweights. Man, I'm looking forward. Matter of fact, the whole month of March is going to be lit. So with that, I'm out. Peace.